Wow, you are quite the crowd, and I have quite the act to follow, so naturally I'm a little nervous. If it's all right with you, I want to do what I often do when I'm slightly nervous and take a selfie. Would that be okay? Sorry, Dean Adams, but I'm a millennial. All right. Perfect. No more space on my phone, so. Sometime in 2012, a few friends and I had an idea. We felt that the conversation here on campus regarding Israel, the Palestinians, and the Middle East was too tense, polarizing, not constructive. And we decided that we, a group of Brandeis freshmen, are going to be the ones who start a movement to depolarize it. We came up with a program, wrote a pretty basic business plan, and asked to meet with a senior administrator on campus. Hint, he was on stage earlier. To our surprise, he agreed. And so we found ourselves in his office, telling him a story that we barely believed ourselves about this grandiose conference where thousands of students from all over the country are going to come here to Brandeis, to talk about Israel, something that really sounded intense. He looked at us when he was done listening and really caught us off guard when he said, I love it, but I really think you should think bigger. And so, with his help and the help of the Brandeis community, we started BView. Brandeis Visions for Israel in an Evolving World, a student grassroots movement that brought together thousands of people, raised more than $100,000, hosted presidential advisors, politicians, both American and Israeli, ambassadors, and really brought people together from across the political aisles. And really made an impact both here on campus and way, way beyond. I'm telling you all of this not because I want you to consider getting involved and look it up when you come back next year, although really should. I'm telling you this because there lies the answer to a question that I ask myself very often. What was it that kept me here at Brandeis for 6 years? Yes, this semester that's coming to an end concludes my 6th consecutive year at Brandeis. I came here in 2011 for my undergraduate journey. I graduated 2 years ago. I stuck around for grad school and, altogether making me a very experienced Brandeis student. Almost a triple alumnus, that is if I don't mess up in the next couple of weeks. And this is where I want to get very, very honest. Obviously, I've been here for 6 years. I love this place. I love it very, very much. I can proudly say today that it's a home, a family, much more than that sometimes. But 6 years ago, it really seemed impossible that I'll be here for this long. My friends here can attest that every year I would tell them that I don't think I'll come back the next year. I said so in my first year, in my second year, in my third year, fourth, fifth, even this year when I knew it's my last one. The force of habit, I guess, at that point. It's not because I didn't like it, I loved it, as I said, but I really missed making a direct impact at my home community where my heart was back in Israel. And so, thinking what could be my 2 cents, 2 shekels, as we say back home, for this marvelous crowds of promising soon-to-be Brandeis students, I went back to that story, the story that I just mentioned about the idea, the nervous group of students and the administrator who told us to think bigger. What kept me here at Brandeis for this long was the way this community encourages me, as it will encourage you, to be audacious. It is a relatively young institution. We don't have fancy Gothic buildings. The castle outside will have to excuse me, no offense intended, or ludicrous endowment funds. We have some big names, maybe not as much as in other places. We don't have a football team, which is why we like to joke, because if you haven't found out yet, you'll soon find out that Brandeis football is undefeated since 1952, the last year it played a game. But we have a really rare combination of 2 somewhat opposing traits: audacity and modesty. Modesty and audacity. It often sounds cheesy, as it might right now, when Louis D. Brandeis' words that if we would guide by the light of reason, we must let our minds be bold, are invoked to describe his namesake institution. But that was really my experience, and that was the experience of so many of my friends. And that is what makes Brandeis a place worth traveling to from across the ocean. And that's what kept me here for 6 years. Brandeis' modest audacity is what allows amazing yet down-to-earth innovations in programming, research, social policies, and so much more. I can't tell you how excited I am for you that you'll be coming back next year and starting to discovering all of those on your own. And I can promise you, I have no doubt, we'll start making some of those yourselves as well. Modest audacity is what makes famous professors, you've heard some of them today, and senior administrators here, you've heard some of them as well, so, more accessible than they are in any other college that I know of. Modest audacity is what makes Brandeis a prestigious academic institution that isn't the ivory tower that so many other universities often are. It makes a unique, sometimes quirky, but incredibly charismatic community, and a modestly audacious community. This year, I completed quite the full Brandeis circle when I became not only a Brandeis student, but also a teacher. I'm not officially a professor, but once in a while, in an email, a student will call me professor and I won't correct them, but I'm a teacher. I teach a media and politics course as part of the amazing Leader Scholar Community Program. Is anyone here going to be in the Leader Scholar Community Program? I see a few hands. It's all right. Be audacious about it. Basically, it's a group of students who are passionate about media and politics, and they get to live together in one residential hall and take an experiential learning course that I taught this year to explore their interests. When I introduced my course last semester to my students, one thing that I stressed was that in their final project, that they're actually completing very soon, I look for an audacity factor, a shoot for the moon factor. 3 of them, and that's just one example out of many exceptional projects, really took it to heart. And a few weeks ago, they organized, and I'm telling you, all on their own, an amazing panel about women in the media. About 50 people were there, more than 500 joined via Facebook Live. It featured 3 rock star journalists from NBC and NPR. And my 3 students, first-year students, 18 or 19, not much older than you, I would imagine, sat there, chill, moderating like experienced pros. I can't tell you, and it was so engaging that it was featured in that evening news on NBC. So, a lot of people got to see it. I can't tell you how proud I was. I couldn't have been prouder as I looked at my 3 first-year students really embodying the spirit of modest audacity. Right? Really shoot for the moon, but be modest about it. And I can promise you that all of you are going to, in this room, you're going to find more ways to embody this spirit very, very soon, sooner than you know, in exhilarating ways. I'd like to conclude by making a final, and in my view, critical point. Modest audacity is not just about our Brandeis experiences and where our paths will take us. It's what this country and the world needs at this distinctly polarized time. I got to observe the recent elections very close, both as a teacher with my students and as a journalist. I went up to New Hampshire a few times, went to a few events. I saw candidate Clinton and President Trump in person. I interviewed some other politicians and their supporters. One of my main conclusions is that audacity is not difficult to find. Audacity is everywhere. It is what unites people as different, and they will excuse me for putting them in the same sentence, as Presidents Barack Obama and Donald Trump. The former titled his book, The Audacity of Hope. The latter, regardless of one's political views and opinions about him, does not lack in audacity or boldness. 2 leaders so vastly different, so deeply polarizing for this nation, so easily and clearly share and reflect this value of audacity. What's missing in so many of our leaders in politics, in economics, business, arts, culture, and everywhere else is the modesty part. And that is as true, I can tell you, for the United States as it is for Israel. What the world needs, and what Brandeis, and most importantly you, as admitted Brandeis students, have to offer, is leadership, activism, change-making, innovation, and thinking that is audacious and modest. Modest and audacious. I hope that all of us, as I graduate and move on to the next stage, and you, as you make Brandeis your home, will find ways to spread the Brandeis spirit. Be modest and willing to listen and learn. Be audacious and willing to take risks and dare. Be modestly audacious. Be a Brandisian. I'm Chen, a seeker of knowledge, a hummus connoisseur, and a modestly audacious Brandisian. And that is my look inside. Thank you.